Hi everyone, it's Sim Hales. I'm back in The Sims 4 with a shell challenge. I just fancied doing something a little bit different and I saw this one on the gallery, so I've popped the name of the creator who come up with the sim challenge if you want to have a go at yourself, and then if you do complete it, just upload it to the gallery. The hashtag that they're using with the completed ones is hashtag girlnextdoor. So if you do want to have a go at it, just upload it with that hashtag and then everybody will be able to see what you did with the shell as well. So this is just a video of what I've done with this shell challenge. So it came with the awnings at the front. I think they came from the desert kit that we got. I think it was given free at some point, but I think you have to pay for it now, so that's just one of those things, unfortunately. But when I first saw this shell, I just thought it really looked like a grand piano with the awnings looking like the keys and then the shape of the build. It just reminded me of a piano, so I ended up going completely into that theme, stuck with black and white. So it's very monochrome, this build. There is a music room, and yeah, I've been completely inspired just by the fact that it looked like a piano to me when I looked at the building. So it's a little bit different to most of my builds, to be honest, because it's not very open plan, this one. Even though it's very small as well, you'll see in the inside the awkward shapes as well. So yeah, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I just thought I fancied doing something different. So I put it, for some reason, I put this quite small house on a huge lot, and then it was like, what am I going to do with the rest of the lot? So some of it's garden, some of it's just landscaping, and the lot does end up looking quite finished, even though it's got such a big outside area. I think if I'd have done it again, I would have put it on a smaller lot, and I would have made the garden piano shaped as well. So that is something, when I came back to it, because I didn't finish it all in one go, and that is something that I would have done if I'd have thought about it from the start. I would have put it on a smaller lot and made the garden piano shaped. Having a basement makes this one trickier, especially when you realise that the walls in the basement are not lined up with the upstairs, so that made it trickier. But I don't know if this is cheating, because I haven't changed any of the walls, but I have put a courtyard downstairs just so that there's some light going into that basement room, because I really hate basements where there's no light going into them. So that is something that I did add. And it doesn't change the shape of the building, so hopefully that isn't a cheat. But I just don't like rooms with... I could have had that room without the courtyard, but I just don't like basement rooms without any light going into them, so I really wanted to add some kind of area where they could get some light in there. And I did that with a little outside courtyard, so you'll see that anyway coming up. But the building shape obviously it's got a lot of awkward angles, so I was trying to sort out the layout first of how I knew I wanted the living room directly behind the front door. It just made sense to have it there. So then it was like, where do I put the kitchen, dining room, and then the bedrooms have got to fit in the same kind of awkward space upstairs, and having a double bed when you've got all these angles, it's a little bit of jiggling about. And also the front porch was on a platform, but then I realised the house wasn't, so I had to raise the house, like have the rooms with platforms just so that everything was kind of one level. And platforms can still be a little bit... you can still get a few little glitches with the platforms, but I kind of figured that out as I was going along. And then it was just trying to figure out what to put in these awkward little corners, just so that I wanted to use the spaces, even though they might not be the best spaces. I wanted to make sure I was using all of these little crammed in areas. So things like hanging plants and a little seat, it just means it's usable space. And I could have had it all open plan, but I really wanted to make it feel like a home. And then in the room, it's not even a proper shape. I don't know what shape you would call that. It looks like a P. Yeah, it looks like the letter P. So I put the kitchen in there. There's a lot of overlapping counters, and I did try and do it without that, just so that every counter is usable. But to use the space the best, overlapping counters was the way it was going. So but I have tried to make sure there is at least 2 counters, I think. Maybe only 1. There's definitely 1 that doesn't overlap with anything. So if there's any issues with your Sims routing, they've got a counter that's completely free of anything. And then they can do food prep and things like that. So I was trying to think about practically using the space, but also making it look like it's been furnished properly to use all of this space. So yeah, I tried the sink in loads of different places. I was thinking about hiding counters outside with bushes so that they fit in. But in the end, I just thought it works better with the overlapping counters, and it just uses the space the best. So that's kind of why I went with this. And I do think it really, it does, it kind of suits that room because it's so awkward. But yeah, it's like they've made the most of this awkward little shape. And then I've gone with like a featured backsplash just behind the cooker. And I think that really makes it stand out. And I didn't want to go with dark walls or anything because it is quite a small room. So I think just having that one feature behind the cooker, it just looks, it makes it stand out. And I think it's quite a nice little feature in there. And especially with it being black and white themed, you've definitely got that theme quite consistent with the counters, the wall, yeah, and all the little accessories as well. There's a lot of black and white accessories. So, and there is things with the bits of colour in, like I wasn't gonna not add any colour, but I wanted it to be just the accessories might add some colour, but it's definitely got a distinct monochrome theme throughout the whole house. So yeah, some of the accessories might have bits of colour, but overall it's the majority is black and white. And even with some of the accessories, I've tried to get them as monochrome as possible. Things like the dish rack, I went with a dark colour theme for that. Pictures and things that I've added, yeah, just as many things as possible that could fit with the theme. That shelf, for example, a lot of it is black, but then you've got blue in the colour of the paintings. But I would have liked them to have black and white pictures in them as well, but yeah, I just went with the objects we've got in the game. And then there was another big black and white picture as well in the kitchen. The TV I did manage to squeeze under the stairs, just trying to make the most of all of this space. One thing with these windows just here, when I did reload my game, for some reason those windows had disappeared. I'm not sure why. So if you do decide to download this lot and the windows are missing, you just need to pop them back in. I'm not really sure why they disappeared, but when I came back to the game they'd gone, and I put them back in again. So hopefully that's not an ongoing thing. It might have just been a one-off, but obviously there is glitches in the game. So yeah, I don't know what caused that one, but the windows just disappeared. But yeah, we've got quite a modern looking living room with a black and white theme. I do eventually add some curtains in there as well. And then the upstairs, we've got a bathroom and 2 bedrooms. So we've got the main bedroom with a double bed, and then a single bedroom. Although the single bedroom is very plain, so it is something that you would need to add probably some items to, just to make it a bit more personal to whichever sim you move in there, because yeah, it's very plain. I think, like, I'm not really keen on this whole black and white style in general. I would like a little bit more colour, but I just thought for this building it just seemed to work with the design of the building. So maybe it's just me, maybe I need more colour than, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I should have maybe added a couple of coloured objects in the single bedroom. But anyway, we're on to the bathroom at the minute. That shelving unit doesn't stay. I just didn't think it really worked with this build. But I did add some clutter items and added the tiles, which are black and white. I think this worked really well actually, and I do end up adding a couple of pictures in the bathroom, which I think just finishes it off. The shower's just around that corner, so it's tucked away nicely. So it's like a narrow bathroom, but it's got everything they need in there. I mean, I can't fit a bath in this one, but I think with the space that we've got and the awkward shapes, this bathroom isn't a bad size, to be honest. So yeah, we've got a lot of accessories in there and a couple of pictures, and I just think that makes it quite homely. Yeah, I went with the gold for the pictures because it matched the taps. Otherwise, I would have tried to get them more black and white as well. But I just thought it brought in the colour of the taps with that. So that is the reason that I added them with a bit of colour. Added some knitting. I did try to put a few skill building items throughout this build, just so that if it is used by anyone, there's stuff for Sims to do. And I figured because I'd based this on a piano theme, I wanted to put quite a few creative items. I managed to find a piano picture, which I thought worked really well with this build. But yeah, I've definitely gone down the creative route for Sims. In whoever lives in here would be a creative person. So that's kind of the reasoning behind having quite a lot of creative items in this build. So this is the courtyard that I've come up with, and I just think it makes sense to have this if you're going to have this creative basement room. So I suppose it depends how you furnish this. Like if it was a safe or something like that, maybe you wouldn't want any light in it, but I wanted to make this a piano room just for the reasons like I've said. That's what kind of inspired this whole build. So the shell to me just looked like a grand piano, and I couldn't fit a grand piano in this room, which was a bit disappointing. I could have done, but it'd have been really squished, and I wanted to make the most of the space. So I did put I don't know what they're actually called, but the stand-up piano, some bookshelves. We've got a little seating unit in here, which is custom made. I've made this. And just a few like musical themed decorations as well. So it's really got, like, I just think all of those books could be like music related, and yeah, it's definitely got its own little cute look, and it's definitely themed, this room. So we've got a guitar in the corner. I'm not sure if you could just see that there. The jazz piano player. I don't know if that's right, but it looks like it belong in a jazz club anyway, with a spotlight, and then a couple of the jazz instrument pictures as well. And then this is the custom seating unit. I did try a few of the different seats to see what would work, and I just thought the plain colour worked better because it's not, if you're using two and they're patterned, they kind of glitch in the light. So I didn't want it to glitch, because it's really awkward on your eyes when it keeps glitching in different colours. So I went for a plain seat and then added some plants, so it looks like it's like a built-in seating unit. And I also added some mirrors behind it, and I think that it helps make the room look a little bit bigger because it's quite narrow as well. So I think having mirrors and just trying to get as much light in here as possible makes the room feel bigger than it actually is. So yeah, just trying to make the most of the space. And then I wanted to cover up the bottom part of the mirror just because it goes under the seat otherwise. So I did manage to find something that was just plain black, and it makes it look like the mirror starts higher up than it does. So yeah, just a custom little seat in there. And then the courtyard, I've used these black and white tiles which are patterned. So they're quite a busy tile, but then against the concrete walls, I think it does draw your eye to to the tiles because the walls are so bare and minimalist. But then I have added a few plants, just otherwise it just looks so plain. I'm not really keen on that kind of concrete wall look, but I just thought if it's a basement courtyard, they're going to be concrete. So I just added a few plants just to try and make it look a bit brighter, and then I thought some overhanging plants at the top would look quite nice, just so that you haven't got that harsh line of the ground and then the walls going down. So I added a few plants around the edge. This does change a few times, and I think that just finishes it off, to be honest. And I added those ivy planter things. Not really sure what they're called, but the climbing ivy. And then I'd moved the coloured plants to the other side. So you've got plants on each side anyway. So you've got like nature and quite harsh concrete, which hopefully the plants soften the concrete and make the courtyard look like a nice place where you'd want to go and sit as well. So yeah, but they have got a huge back garden, so probably didn't need the courtyard, but it was something I wanted to add. The bedroom is very much all white, really, other than the walls. I've gone darker with the walls, but then the furniture is very light. The flooring's obviously light. But then I do add a few accessories in here. And also I've left the picture frames blank just so that if you move a sim in here and you've got pictures of your sim, they're ready to be added in. So I think it's quite nice because you can make it personal for whoever's living there if you add your own pictures in. So I like to have picture frames on the walls and then they can be used by whatever family's living there. I think these came with a Machina. I'm rubbish at pronouncing that. I think they came with that kit. Or was it a stuff pack? I can't remember. It was that long ago that I got that one. Yeah, but I think they came with a Machina one. And then the picture behind the bed is obviously the main pop of colour in that room because the rest is all black and white. So onto this single bedroom, and like I say, this one is really plain. It's very white, and then I was going to do darker walls, but because this is narrow and there isn't really that much room to even put furniture in here because it's such an awkward space, when I tried darker walls it didn't work. It didn't look right, so I ended up going with white walls and white furniture. So like I said, it could definitely it could do with some extra accessories, maybe some even just more pictures on the walls and things like that, just to give it a pop of colour or a bit more personality. I think that one is the plainest room out of all of them. Like, I like the living room. It definitely fits in with the theme of the house because it's got the piano picture, so I do like that one, even though that one is still the black and white theme. I think the kitchen's got quite a lot of personality, the study has, and the music room. So I think the only one I wish I'd have added a few more decor items to is the single bedroom. Like even the stairs I think go with the whole theme with the black and white. I just think it all kind of ties together, and it's just a shame about that one bedroom, which I just think looks a little bit too plain. But I suppose that could be easily changed with maybe a different bed and a couple of accessories. So it's changeable, but yeah, when I look at it and I've seen the pictures of it, I just thought, it's the one room that I kind of wish I'd have done differently. But my favourite room in this house is the basement and the piano room. I think that works really well. So yeah, some things you wish you'd have done differently, but my favourite room is the piano room. So onto the outside balcony at the back. I've put a barbecue area. I just think it's standard on one of these. Like, you're just not going to have one of these at the back of your house and not have a barbecue. a little seating area and a little table to put the food on when you are barbecuing. I'm not sure what I was doing with the camera there, but I went really far back. The post box does change as well, the mail, whatever. That doesn't stay like that. I do end up changing that for one on the wall. I thought it suited the house better. And then looking at this big space at the back of the house, it took me a long time to decide what to do with it. And I was like, I need to break this up. Like, this can't be just one giant garden for this house. So I wanted to have like maybe a couple of trees that are not part of the house, but they are still on the lot. And then some trees at the side that again are not part of the lot, but they were there maybe before the house. So I broke the lot up by just having these separate like nature areas that are on the lot but are not part of the lot. So not something this house would have to maintain exactly, but they're near the house. So they just add some visual interest rather than just having the plain grass around it. And then I started with this around the courtyard. This was the start of the garden. I added these flowers. I think they were out of debug, and I've tried to use quite a few debug items just to make this a bit cheaper. I can't even remember what the price ended up, but I did try to use debug plants because the plants really add a lot of value to your house. It won't be the cheapest house, definitely, because it's got the piano and a lot of hobby items, but I did try and limit how many plants I was using that were not part of debug. The only thing, I haven't got the Better Build Buy mod, and trying to find things through debug does take quite a long time without that. So I did start with a fountain at the back, but I just thought the house is really modern and this just doesn't suit the vibe of the house. So I scrapped that idea and I decided to go with like a sunken fire pit area. I just thought it would work really well with the house. So I got one of the fire pits and some seats around it. And I think this works. I think it looks a lot better. I think it suits the style of the house. So the garden doesn't look like a completely different build to the house. So yeah, that's why I ended up changing it, because I did like that fountain, but it would have suited an older style looking house rather than the one that we've got, which is very modern. So let me know what you think anyway. Hopefully you do like this one. It is very different for me. This isn't kind of normally what I would build, especially with all those angles in the rooms. I kind of like defined rooms without the tight corners and stuff. So this one was definitely a challenge, but hopefully it's kind of worked out. I'm going to have a look actually on the gallery to see what other people have done with this. I'm sure other people have done a lot more colourful versions. But yeah, I went into this theme and stuck with it. So this is what we've got. The only area that does end up quite colourful is the garden, because I do add quite a few plants. So if you do want to download this, please check out the gallery, #SimmerHales, or you can have a look at the hashtag for the house, which is #GirlNextDoor, although I do think that also might bring up some people's Sims, because I know some Sims have had that hashtag. Or if you go back to the beginning of the video, the username of the creator is on there, so you can also check out their gallery. And have a go at the shell yourself, because you come up with things that you would never have thought of when you've got a shell challenge, because you are so limited with what you can do. So it's a good way to try different things, because shell challenges kind of force you to think outside the box because you can't change those rooms. So it is a good way to, especially if you feel like I'm getting bored, I'm building the same thing. It's a nice way to come up with something new. So that's the reason that I kind of enjoy doing shell challenges. So So this garden does change again. These hedges, I was thinking they would give a nice border to the garden, and then the rest outside of those hedges would have been private land or like the nature land, but I came up with something different in the end. So they don't end up staying there, and although the flower border does, I thought that looked really nice around the seating area. So yeah, this is kind of the final look. We've got this ruined wall, and I was thinking maybe that was there even before the house, and they've just kept the wall because it looks like a nice feature. So that is my thinking behind that, because I know it's not modern, but I just thought maybe they've decided to keep it because it is such a feature of, you know, this wall could have been here hundreds of years. Some of it's broken, but it's definitely eye-catching. And then you've got all this modernness around it. So I went for this quirky gate as well. I don't even know if you can use it, probably not, but it doesn't matter because there's plenty of space to get in, and I do put a gate at the other side as well. But I just thought that looked like a nice feature, and it's just another way that we could add a path to the side to make it look like all areas could be used. So I've added things like that in, and it doesn't really matter if they can be used or not, because I've added other ways into the garden and also you can get to it through the house, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I just think these details just make it look more lived in. Put a little climbing frame because obviously we've got the spare bedroom, so you could have a child living here. And just a couple of decorations like the bunny tree stump and a child's bike. And then on the upstairs balcony we've got a telescope, a yoga mat and an easel. So definitely creative people who live here. So yeah, that pretty much rounds up the video. I hope you've enjoyed this build. I know it's definitely not my usual style and very black and white, but hopefully you've enjoyed this one. And I really enjoyed doing this one. I do enjoy a shell challenge, and hopefully I'll do some more in the future. I saw the shell challenge a lot of people are doing at the moment, but it looked a bit plain, so I wanted something a bit different, and I found this one, and I'm really pleased I had a go at it. So thank you for creating it, to the creator, and yeah, have a go and let me know if you do have a try at this one. Have a good week everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.